Mandy's anyway.
Right.
And by the way, we will still do our usual fare of Yacht Rock on a Tuesday, too. Beautiful. So let's get the show rolling. Producer Jorge Mason in Ireland, your Tuesday right now.
Well, you heard Chris say it. Andy Kamenetsky filling in for Mason in Ireland. We are T-minus 4 to the Mandy Awards. Yesterday, we had a great day out with BBGO in Koreatown. Gave away, we just ate a lot of Korean food, basically, is what we did.
How great are the dumplings?
Everything was good.
Yeah.
I had, they were giving out these samplers.
Right.
I normally, I'll try one. I stopped at 4.5.
BBGO is so good.
Yeah, and
so good.
And so if you're looking for snack food, BBGO is the way to go. And the mural looks great. It's right in the middle of Vermont Avenue in Koreatown. It was really, really fun.
You and Michael did an amazing job. And I'm not one to always compliment MT because he doesn't like me. John, you're my boy.
Sedano is your boy.
No, but you're both my boys.
Well, we'll see.
Chris has a lot of boys in the stable.
We'll see on Saturday. Sam Morales is always at the center of the universe at the Mandy's.
It's Keyshawn's night. I'm just there as the sidekick.
Is once again Key technically the host?
Technically, he is the host, yes.
Okay.
He's our morning man, the great Keyshawn Johnson, son of Troy, man of Troy. Number 1 overall pick, 1996.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard that from Key directly.
Just saying.
Many times in one show.
All right, so that is Commerce Casino Saturday night, and Chris will be in with several reminders throughout the day today on a Live Imaging Tuesday. And I'm glad you're here today because there's a lot of Lakers stuff I want to get to. And for people who don't know, Andy and his brother Brian host a Locked On Lakers podcast Monday through Friday. On average, what time does it drop?
It drops. The audio will drop midnight of every new day. So if you're up late and you want to get up on the new Lakers podcast, just midnight, it will automatically appear in your subscription feed. The YouTube component, though, we tend to get, if we can, try to get it maybe an hour before the new day begins, just so you can even have it a little bit earlier if you want to watch the show. And that's part of the Locked On Lakers YouTube channels. You should subscribe to that as well.
There are all sorts of NBA-related stories surrounding the finals. There's no game tonight. They will resume tomorrow night. And let's start with this. Andy, I'm surprised, and I would imagine this is a topic that has either come up or will come up on the Locked On Lakers podcast.
I believe I know where you're going, and it is today's topic du jour, John.
Why does this LeBron is maybe going to the Mavericks thing get any traction? I don't think it's even worth discussing yet. I seem to be the only one not discussing it.
Well, it's definitely worth discussing, John, because it's June. So
right.
we need to be discussing it. The reason,
there isn't anything to it, is there?
I don't think there's anything to it. The reason it stays alive is because everybody knows that LeBron would like to play with Kyrie if possible. He has been very open about this beyond what has been reported, and nobody is quite sure whether Kyrie truly wants to be in Dallas. He was traded there. He did not choose to go to Dallas, and the Mavericks had a very disappointing season, particularly after Kyrie arrived. So that's where the rumor mill just will not end connecting these two. I'll tell you right now, as long as LeBron is a Laker, you will hear about Kyrie to the Lakers, LeBron and Kyrie playing together. That is going to be a thing for as long as LeBron is a member of this team. Like, it won't stop.
All right, you're going to have to play this, Funch, because I can't find it. But the other thing that people are discussing is whether or not the Lakers are going to extend Anthony Davis when he is eligible in August. And I'm surprised that this is a debate. I'm a big AD guy. I think that he's one of the best big men in the league. I know Laker fans get frustrated when he doesn't have back-to-back great games, but Andy, defensively, he's as good as anybody.
Absolutely.
Yet, here's Dave McMenamin talking about whether or not he thinks, and Dave covers the Lakers more than anybody. He was on yesterday with Sedano and Cap. Here's Dave talking about whether or not he thinks the Lakers will extend Anthony Davis at their first opportunity.
You just don't do it. You play out this year with him, you see where things stand with him and LeBron. Obviously, then you risk the second year he has left. He could opt out and leave as free agent. But listen, I've said this many times. The best thing about the Lakers trade for Dwight Howard was not re-signing Andrew Bynum to a long-term deal and not getting anything out of it. And, you hope that Anthony Davis stays healthy and you get the best out of him next year. But I just don't think they're going to be in the position to be interested in a long-term extension for him this summer.
That shocks me, Andy, because I just assumed that this was fait accompli. Does it surprise you that that's Dave's position?
It's a little bit surprising just in the sense that the Lakers always love to operate with at least one star in hand. Like, that's just the franchise ethos. It's the way they've always been, for better and I think occasionally for worse. They are an organization that is first and foremost always about stars. What to me makes it not shocking necessarily is Anthony Davis has not yet proven that he can be the undisputed number one for an elite contending team. He can be about as good a number two as exists, depending on who your number one is. And there are times where he can play like a number one, but he has not proven that he can absolutely be that guy. And when the Lakers traded for Anthony Davis, it was, I think, with the idea that by now, the proverbial torch would have been passed from LeBron to AD, and you would have no doubt about who really is the focal point of this team, like the proverbial engine of the car that LeBron is steering. There's, I think, reason to doubt AD can be that guy, so maybe that does alter their long view of what their future would be with AD. That's the rationale.
I'm more in this camp. Here's Brian Windhorst talking about whether he thinks AD will be extended first opportunity in August.
Anthony Davis is still in his prime. If you want to focus on his shortcomings and the negatives, go have at it. The man is an absolute dominating player. He's vitally important for any team having postseason, hopes and dreams. And they do not want him messing with free agency in 2024. That's a primary offseason thing for the Lakers. Get Anthony Davis locked down past when LeBron is even signed for.
Isn't he right?
If I had to guess, I would assume the Lakers would be looking to lock up Anthony Davis, if for no reason then just to be able to have him in the fold. If they want to move him down the road, if he wants to be moved down the road, you can do that. But again, if they have doubts about the long-term future of Anthony Davis, specifically without LeBron, because LeBron is only going to be here so many years longer.
Right.
Next season could be his last, depending on what ends up happening. He's got a $50-ish million contract that he can opt into. It's a player option for 24-25. Yeah. They may want to offer themselves more of just a total clean route moving forward, like more optionality where they're not locked into anything depending on what LeBron does moving forward. Like just giving
not even locked into Anthony Davis. In what world is that not a good move?
Well, again, if you have doubts about Anthony Davis,
do you?
As the unquestioned focal point number one of a team, yeah, I do.
But I'm not saying even if he's not. There's lots of guys that are on max contracts who aren't the focal point of their team.
Sure.
Draymond Green, Klay Thompson,
but
Drew Holiday.
Right, but those guys are all on the back end of their deals where you would question whether or not they're worth that type of money anyway. Like right. Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, respectfully to Michael, those are guys that are not producing at the level of their contract right now.
Right, but I'll use Phoenix as an example. If Kevin Durant's maxed, you don't not max Devin Booker.
Right, but those guys are still, particularly Devin Booker, they're still producing at what you would expect from a max-level player.
And you don't think Anthony Davis is?
I think Anthony Davis is a really interesting case because defensively he is everything as advertised, and he's a skilled, talented offensive guy, but his offense is not as consistent as you would want for a guy that will be the focal point number one of an elite team. And there's always the question of his health and the games missed and trying to build around that.
Well, that I understand. The last thing you said, I understand.
But
if this is about his availability,
Well, it's all part of it. It's all part of it.
Then I get it.
Especially
but
as he ages.
in terms of whether or not I would max Anthony Davis,
Right.
I mean, it's not my money. It's the Lakers' money, but to
that's
me,
also,
it's a no-brainer.
Remember, though, you're talking about maxing him into his mid-30s, where if sort of the pattern and I think just sort of logic holds, he's only going to start becoming more injury-prone. You're only going to worry about him missing more games. And again, he's the guy that theoretically everything's built around. Unless you can find someone else where you slate Anthony Davis as the number 2, but it's hard to do.
All right, if you're a Laker fan, today is an anniversary of something that you will remember that happened 22 years ago. We'll cover that. And where does Nikola Jokic rank in the all-time greats of the NBA? The opinions on this are all over the place. Andy Kamenetsky's filling in for Mace. I'm John Ireland. Mason and Ireland, ESPN LA.
Travis.
Oh, yeah. Live Imaging Tuesday with Mason and Ireland. Just remind you of that little blonde summer girl that got away. When Paul Davis, right, is singing about a cool night.
All right, somebody sent me a great blonde joke the other day. You guys want to hear it?
Sure.
Okay. So a very attractive brunette goes into the doctor's office.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
And she says to the doctor, "Man, my whole body hurts wherever I touch it." And the doctor goes, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah, watch." And she touches her elbow and she shrieks in pain.
Shrieks.
Yes. Then she touches her knee. Same thing. Very painful. Then she touches her ankle. Same thing.
Right.
Shrieks in pain. And the doctor goes, "I think I know what's going on here." She says, "Really? What?" He goes, "Are you a natural brunette?" And she says, "No, I'm a blonde." And he said, "Your finger's broken."
Poor blondes. They get a bad rap, man.
Well, you're the one that brought up the little cool night blonde thing.
I'm thinking of,
I
like,
thought it would fit
you know.
in with the theme.
Oh, I love it. By the way, it is Mandy's Week. 4 days until the second annual Mandy Awards Saturday night at the Commerce Casino. And, of course, all the voting, every award. There's only 2 people in this building and on Saturday night that know the results. Tommy
well,
Lamb.
Jorge knows, doesn't he? Doesn't he have to
No,
know?
I think he produced all the packages, and then he will find out as we give away the category.
Okay.
And then the great Joseph Marmolejo, who's in Tommy's department.
They're
They
the
know.
Price and Waterhouse.
They are the whatever you just said. But all the voting that was done for this from our fans and our listeners was made possible by our friends at Power Pro Plumbing. You know,
I know those guys.
Power Pro Plumbing is celebrating 20 years of delivering top-quality plumbing services to our valued customers, and they like John Ireland. And John Ireland's my boy.
Raul, the owner of Power Pro Plumbing, is a huge Laker fan.
And he'll be there.
Shout out to Alan Triplett, who is my personal plumber from Power Pro Plumbing, who can fix anything, that dude.
It's always key to have a personal plumber.
I was going to say, you live in a gated community when you have a personal
Alan
plumber.
is the only one I'll let work on our pipes, if you know what I mean.
Well, that's important, too. Or you could be like the plumbers that's on HBO Max right now, of course, about the
White
whole...
House.
I haven't watched that. Is that any good? The White House Plumbers?
It's very campy.
It looks campy.
It's a little too campy.
Well, Chris, I have Real Housewives to watch, so if it's not good, I'm not into it.
What are they? Is it still Orange County? Or is this like D.C. or Maryland?
Well, right now it's all about Vanderpump. It's about Scandival, Chris.
I haven't gone into Vanderpump.
Oh, you're missing out. There's dogs and cats sleeping together, and pretty much everyone else sleeping together. And that is the latest from our Vanderpump Rules desk.
Don't forget, in about 45 minutes, you could win sold-out Mandy's tickets if you take John Ireland's quiz. So that's coming up around 2:15 right now. More of Ireland and Andy continues.
Okay, so, Andy, if Jokic leads the Nuggets to a title, and right now it's 1-1, we're not really sure which way this series is going to go, but the Nuggets are still favored. If Jokic leads them to a title, where does that put him on the NBA's all-time best player list? I was surprised by this. Our old friend Chris Broussard, Chris worked at ESPN for a lot of years, and now he's working over at Fox.
Yeah, Chris is a good dude.
Here's Chris trying to classify Jokic as an all-time great player.
He's ahead of Garnett if he wins this championship.
You put him ahead of Garnett?
Yes. Probably Barkley. I love Barkley. But this dude is leading a team to a championship. And his numbers are outrageous. He averages a triple-double.
How about Dirk? No.
He's better than Dirk.
All right, better than Garnett, better than Kevin Garnett, better than Charles Barkley, better than Dirk Nowitzki. You buying that?
I think actually you can make an argument. Absolutely. Like I took a look at some of Garnett's numbers, for example. Jokic has been a better scorer over his career than Garnett was. Sometimes people thought Garnett was too unselfish.
Right.
But
Garnett, elite defender.
Right. Elite defense is the one area where you're going to detract from Jokic in favor of Garnett. But he is every bit, if not more, of the scorer than Garnett was. Garnett was a great passer and playmaker for his position, but Jokic is the best passing big man ever. It's not even debatable. He's every bit the rebounder that Garnett was. He's had he's had more individual success than Garnett. Garnett won 1 MVP. Jokic has won 2. He's had as much playoff success. I know Garnett went to 2 finals, but he didn't have a ton of playoff success over the course of his whole career.
No, lost in Minnesota in the conference finals to the Lakers.
Right.
And yeah.
Other than that, it was a bunch of one-and-dones.
Barkley? You'd put Jokic ahead of Barkley?
He's on a path to having...
Barkley only has 1 MVP.
Right. He also, too, I mean, remember, this is Jokic at this age with like another 10 years to go.
Yeah.
If nothing else, he's on track to having a more impressive career than Barkley, especially if he ends up getting a couple rings on top of it.
All right. Something else we wanted to get to happened 22 years ago today. Mm-hmm. People ask me all the time because I've been working with the Lakers in one capacity to the other since 1997. They said, what's the best Laker team you've ever covered? For me, it's the 2001 Lakers with Ron Harper and Kobe at the guards, and then the front line with Shaq at his absolute peak. And Robert Horry was on that team, and
Rick Fox, Derek Fisher,
and
Isaiah Ryder.
They went 15-1 in the playoffs. The game they lost, happened 22 years ago today. Allen Iverson just went off at what was then known as Staples Center in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. So there's a new documentary on NBA TV called Everything But the Chip, and it's about the 2001 Sixers. And the most famous play from Iverson's 48-point game was the Ty Lue step-over. Ty Lue was chasing Iverson all over the place, and actually Ty had some success against him later in the series, but nobody could stop him in Game 1. He had 48 points. And Iverson faked him, Ty fell down, and Iverson stepped over him with these huge, giant steps and made he made a point of stepping over Ty Lue. And I thought since it was 22 years ago today, you'd like to hear they covered that in the documentary. Here's Iverson. You'll also hear Larry Brown talking about that play.
He steps around Lou and drilled it. 7 straight points by Iverson. Looked like he was dead in the water.
I can't tell you what the feeling was like. I can't duplicate it. I was in the moment. I just know he fell in front of me. I don't know how I even thought about stepping over him like that. I was just playing basketball.
I remember I'd look at all the coaches and we'd all kind of smile because we'd never seen anybody do something like that before and probably would never see somebody do it again.
AI dropped 48 in game.
It's interesting, Andy, that was the only game the Sixers won. The Lakers won the next 4 and won the title.
Yep.
But that's the play that gets played from those finals more than any play in any of the 5 games, even though the Lakers won 4 of the 5.
I've been a diehard Laker fan for a long time, including watching that series. I remember where I was watching that. It was at some bar that doesn't exist anymore in Pasadena, outdoor place. Been playing golf with some friends. We went to go watch this. Diehard Laker fan, I still thought that's the most badass thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
like Iverson looked like just a straight badass in that moment.
I haven't seen anything like, taking Larry Brown's point, I haven't seen anything like that before or since. Have you? Is there a comp to that in NBA history?
Not with, to the best of my knowledge, not with that level of just swagger. Just swagger, and it, to Iverson's point, whether or not he's being truthful, that he doesn't remember it, it wasn't intentional, it looked perfect. It just looked absolutely perfect. Like, he became an action hero for like 1 second. He had like Bruce Willis, John McClane energy in that moment.
So that was just a weird finals. I went to every game of those finals, including the games in Philly, and it was, Philadelphia fans are the most hardcore sports fans in the world. So the series is tied 1-1, and we go back to Philly. Back then it was 2-3-2.
Yeah.
And in Game 3, Destiny's Child, which was Beyonce and Kelly Rowland and somebody else, is performing at halftime. And so they put one girl, there are 3 girls in the group. They put one girl in a generic NBA jersey. They put Beyonce in a Lakers jersey and Kelly Rowland in a Sixers jersey. I may have the girls wrong, but one girl, generic NBA, one girl Lakers jersey, one girl Sixers jersey. The Sixer fans ignored the fact that one girl was wearing a Sixers jersey and one girl was generic NBA and just focused on, I think it was Beyonce, wearing a Laker jersey and booed her off the court. Like, completely drowned her out. And we're like, the NBA's like, well, we're bringing in more acts. We're bringing Sugar Ray, who's from L.A., in to sing Game 5. And I went to high school with Mark McGrath, and the lead singer of Sugar Ray. And I saw him. I go, hey, man, come here. I go, you can't, I know you're a Laker fan. You can't say anything. You can't say go Lakers. You can't make any Kobe, Shaq. He goes, oh, I know. They've been lecturing me for 2 days. And in order to protect Sugar Ray from getting booed, they had Pat Croce, the Sixers owner, introduce him. He got on the microphone, my guys, Sugar Ray are here. And then the crowd went, well, okay, Croce likes him. We'll let him sing. And you know what song they sing? When it's over, you know it's over. It was Game 5, and the Lakers won the title. It was such a weird series.
Honestly, man, if I'm Mark McGrath, I want to get booed in that moment. As a Laker fan, don't protect me. I would have been calling out Kobe. I would have been calling out Shaq. I would have made it obvious.
Have you ever met McGrath?
I think I have in passing.
Literally might be the nicest guy I've ever met.
I've heard he's nice.
Yeah, he's just a really, really solid guy.
But I mean, seriously, as a Laker fan in that house, knowing that your team is going to win that series, I would have relished the idea of getting booed. That sounds more fun than getting cheered.
Little known fact about Mark McGrath, one of his best friends in high school, McG, the film director who got
Charlie's
his
Angels.
start, the way he got Charlie's Angels and talked Cameron Diaz and Drew Barrymore and all those guys into letting him be the director, was he did all the Sugar Ray's music videos because they didn't have any money in high school. So that was the start of McG and the start of Sugar Ray back then. Coming up next, we will spin the wheel of questions. And a reminder, 2:15, 2 o'clock call of the day, so that's in 20 minutes. We'll take your phone calls. But at 2:15, we're giving away the one. Chris Morales has given us one pair of Mandy's tickets. I think, Chris, I can assume this may be the only pair I get this week, right? We don't know, but he thinks so. So this could be your last chance. If we can find some more tickets, we will. But as far as I know, these are the only pair of tickets I can give away this week, and we're going to give them away at 2:15. Andy in for Mace. It's a live imaging Tuesday. Morales will be in and out all day. Mason in Ireland, ESPN LA.
I mean, we could have just let it. We could have let tape play. That's the kind of fun and frivolity we have on a live imaging Tuesday on Mason in Ireland. We are getting ready. It is Mandy's week, counting down 4 days left before Mandy's Award 2, Saturday night at the Commerce Casino. Of course, George Chevrolet is giving out the Man of the People Award. Their help in making it possible. And, that might be the only award Travis Rogers actually has a shot at winning. Who knows?
He's the favorite, I would say.
I would say that, too.
I voted for him.
Same here. George Chevrolet, your 5-time Chevy Dealer of the Year. Right now, we do it every day around this time. Wheel of Questions time. Spin that wheel, producer Jorge.
Okay, this might reveal something about each one of us. Pretend you're a professional athlete. You can pick the sport. Baseball, football, basketball, soccer, or whatever. It's a team sport, okay? Would you rather get paid a lot to be on a bad team or be paid below average to be on an elite team? So in other words, you're going to get a lot of money, but you're not going to win. Or you're going to be underpaid, but you're going to win a lot. Bergman, which deal do you want?
So the only question I have is how many minutes do I get a game on both teams?
Let's say it's the same. 35 minutes a game on either team. You're a key rotation player.
Then I want to take the less money, be on an elite team if I'm playing 35 minutes a game.
Jorge?
Simple.
I'll take the Mike Trout route.
You want the money.
Yeah, I want
all the money.
And by the way,
team.
Mike Trout is an excellent analogy here. Andy?
By the way, Bergman, 35 minutes a game and underpaid.
I'm going to eventually get paid. I'll get paid eventually.
That's a hell of a setup. Okay, I was thinking about
No, you
this.
won't. Ask Scottie Pippen.
Right.
No, it's true.
Okay, I was thinking about this. And, for example, the NBA, the average salary, according to my research, a little under $10 million a year. So
That's average.
On average.
Wow.
And depending on where you live, after taxes, it's about 5 or 6. What I need to know is how long is my career? Because if it's 10 to 15 years, okay, I can make 5 to 6 mil a year work. If I got a short career, I'm taking the money. Unless I got to live in Florida or Texas where there's no state taxes, I don't want to do that.
Well, that could play into it.
Right.
You could be on the Heat playing 35 minutes a game.
And not paying any state tax.
Right.
Okay, if I'm
You could be Duncan Robinson.
Yeah. If I can get Duncan Robinson's career,
Yeah.
well, he's actually, some would say, overpaid.
Yeah.
He's a bad example for this. As long as I'm going to have a long career, I'd like to have a lot of winning with it. Because you're still making a lot of
Too
money.
many caveats.
The variation of this deal is what Mason.
You got to think it through, man. This is your entire financial livelihood.
First of all,
Bergman.
Greg, I think you've made a mistake because if you're underpaid, once your career is over, you can't ever get it back. So the question I would ask is, do I have a title yet? Because if I've already won.
Well, if you're elite, you should have a title.
But not necessarily. Charles Barkley never won a title.
No.
I mean, Patrick
Trout,
Ewing never won a
Mike.
title. So, Andy, this is a question Mason and I openly, honestly disagree about. I'm going to give you a choice of 2 careers, okay? You can have Patrick Ewing's career, one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history, made a ton of money, never won a title. Or you can have Robert Horry's career, 7 rings. Which one you want?
Horry. He looked like he was having way more fun than Ewing. Like, Ewing often looked miserable in his career. Like, to not win in New York as the number 1 overall guy, that looks
If I
miserable.
changed the Ewing character to Charles Barkley, does that change your answer? Another guy who didn't win?
Well, his post career has been fantastic.
I was gonna
He's made
say-
a lot of money.
No, but this is strictly your
he
playing
loses
career.
a lot of money too.
Right, but to Bergman's point, without Barkley having the career that he had as a star who didn't win, he never gets to do all the stuff that comes afterwards.
Right, but this is strictly your career as a player. Would you rather have Charles Barkley's career or Robert Horry's?
Horry looked like he was having so much fun, man.
Yeah, Bergman, where are you on this?
I would rather have Horry's career.
Yeah, me too.
7
Mason
rings.
says Mason says absolutely, and this tells you a lot about me and a lot about Mason. All I want to do is win. All right, that Robert Horry I'm more jealous of his career than almost anybody's. Mason wants to be the man.
Well, but Patrick Ewing also had the Patrick Ewing effect
But I
from Bill
think-
Simmons.
Right, but I think that you can divide the station into I can almost assure you, Cappy would take Ewing or Barkley. Sedano would take Horry. I would take Horry. Mason would take Barkley.
You know what's funny? You should take Horry because Horry had more championships and made more money, according
Right.
to Basketball Reference, than Charles Barkley.
Well, Horry yesterday said that he made more money
Yeah,
than Barkley.
we asked Rob this yesterday, and he says, "I'll take my ring."
Right. I mean, Robert Horry made, according to Basketball Reference, I don't want to put his business out in the streets, but he made $53 million, according to Basketball Reference.
Right.
That's an
Charles Barkley made more than that. Did
No,
he in his
not
career?
according to Basketball Reference.
Oh, wow.
No, he did not.
Name Charles Barkley's big shot. What was the big shot that Charles Barkley
Well,
hit?
in the year he won MVP, he hit a lot of big shots,
Sure,
including in the playoffs.
But you can say specifically what Robert Horry's shots are out there.
He was unbelievable.
I'm just saying, Robert Horry made an awful lot of money. There's no reason to turn down Robert Horry's career. In a lot of ways, it's perfect. You make a ton of money. Every time you hit a big shot, it's awesome because nobody expected it. But if you miss shots, nobody's on you because they expect Kobe or Shaq or Tim Duncan or whoever to make those shots. Horry's career was perfect.
I have argued for many years, and I'm stealing this argument from Rudy Tomjanovich, who is a great guy, that Robert Horry should be in the Hall of Fame. Can you tell the story of the NBA without Robert Horry? Probably not. He had big shots in Houston, big shots in LA, big shots in San Antonio, and he won 7 rings.
Yeah, you know what?
Michael Cooper and Robert Horry are the 2 Lakers that should be in the Hall of Fame that no one is saying should be, but I will. I think that Coop would go first, then Horry.
Well, if you're looking at this from more of a historical perspective, because in a lot of ways that's what all these Hall of Fames are. They're museums.
Right.
It's easier to tell the story of the NBA without Michael Cooper than Robert Horry.
Except here's my argument for Cooper in a nutshell. He was the best defensive player on 9 finals teams.
Sure.
And Larry Bird said was the best player to ever guard him one-on-one. To me, you're on defense, Andy, 50% of the time. Going full circle with how we started this show, this is why I wouldn't even hesitate to extend Anthony Davis. He gives you a defensive rim stopper every single time he's on the court.
Well, the worry would be that he's not on the court enough.
Would you have given Michael Cooper a max extension?
I don't know if Michael Cooper ever made max money.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like your point is that because Anthony Davis is so good defensively that he deserves max money.
Right.
But you wouldn't do that for Michael Cooper.
Right, but what do you think Anthony Davis's averages are, points and rebounds for his career?
Oh, no. But that's the offensive side of it. But he has to be on the floor, and he needs to be able to play more than 40 games a year.
That's the only argument I will listen to as to why you wouldn't extend AD is his availability.
So if you give Anthony Davis max money, and by the way,
you're giving it to him now.
Sure.
Yeah.
No.
He makes
extension.
right.
An extension
You're just
of max
giving
money.
him more max money.
Correct. So let's say in 3-4 years, do you think he's going to be still worth that much money?
I do.
3
yeah.
years.
I do. But I'm a bigger Anthony Davis fan, it sounds like, than either one of you guys.
I like Anthony Davis.
You just don't want to give him a max extension in August.
Fool me once, fool me twice.
Well, McMenamin said, you just wait. McMenamin, who is really smart, I mean, maybe that is the prudent thing to do. You can always extend him later. The problem is, once you wait, then you have the Julio Urias situation. The Dodgers have lost. I mean, you're not going to get the truth on a lot of broadcast outlets about Julio Urias. He's leaving. All right, they've made him so mad in the way they've treated him. He's out of here. He's going to market, and unless the Dodgers blow him away with a bigger offer than anyone else, he won't be here.
Well,
next
think
year.
about Urias' perspective. He's a World Series hero,
right?
And he's in a contract year, a potential walk year. All he's hearing about is Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Like, they've already prioritized, both in terms of reports and probably reality, they've prioritized Shohei Ohtani ahead of Julio Urias. So think about what that feels like to him when it seems like the team that I'm playing for in a contract year that I've helped win a World Series has already moved past me. Think how that must make him feel.
Right, and they don't even have Shohei Ohtani yet.
No.
I mean, which makes this just super weird. And it seems to me that if let's put it this way. I would be giving a lot of attention to Julio Urias just to cover my bases. It doesn't appear that's what the Dodgers have elected to do. Jorge, didn't you tell me you cannot buy a Julio Urias jersey on Dodgers.com or MLB.com?
Yeah, you can.
Well, but this is a thing, though, that we were hearing about Urias beyond just this year. I mean, I remember having conversations with you guys about this with Urias last season, that there were rumblings that he was feeling unappreciated by the Dodgers last year, much less where we are right now. Like, this has been in the ether for a while.
Right. And so if you're a Dodger fan, you just got to hope that all these young guys get healthy. Walker Buehler, Dustin May, Bobby Miller stays healthy. And then you have Kershaw Gonsolin. You should have enough pitching without him. And then if you get Ohtani, obviously, then that's the whole thing. But Ohtani, nobody knows what he's doing. I think he's going to market. And then you got to be aware of, like, Seattle or San Francisco, somebody with a large Asian population in their city making a run at him and just making some absurd offer to give him $600 million, and then you lose.
Well,
him.
I mean, look, it's really going to come down to what he prefers in terms of market, in terms of comfort, because the money's going to be the same with everybody. Like,
right.
if you
not necessarily, Andy. Remember, every year somebody comes in and does something really dumb. Like when A-Rod was a free agent and the Rangers were bidding against themselves and gave him like $50 million more than anyone else. Somebody just could come in and give him so much money. It's the proverbial give him the offer, the Godfather offer, the offer he can't refuse.
I just feel like the Godfather offer for Ohtani, based on everything we're hearing, is essentially the baseline. Like, I mean, have you heard about anybody not being willing to give him $550, $600 million? Like, that's the baseline of what we're hearing. How much more Godfather can a contract be than over $500 million?
But let's say the Dodgers come in and offer him $600 million. If the Mets or the Yankees come in and offer him $700 million, that's $100 million.
Sure, but I think if you're serious about being in the Ohtani business, and from everything we're hearing, the Dodgers are, they'll counter with $700 million.
Yeah. By the way, if you know this, and I agree with everything you've laid out there, if you know this and you're the Angels, you have to trade him, don't you?
Unless you think you can put yourself in a position to win a World Series, because a World Series means everything you do from that point up to it is justified.
Right, but since he got there, they haven't even sniffed the playoffs.
Look, I'm not making...
You're talking about World Series. They haven't sniffed the playoffs, Andy.
I know they have. Look, I'm not making the argument for doing this. I'm just saying this is what their rationale would be. If we can get ourselves into the World Series, actually win the thing, A, there's your World Series. It justifies whatever happens next. B, we give them a reason to stay.
Well, right now I think they're in fourth place in their own division.
Long road to go.
Yeah.
Long road to go.
You are an optimist, my friend. All right, coming up next is the 2 o'clock call of the day. We take at least one call every day. We may take a few. And then at 2:15, we are giving away a pair of tickets to the Mandy's, the sold-out Mandy Awards. 877-710-ESPN. Next up, 2 o'clock call of the day. You can comment on anything we've been talking about over the past hour, anything else you want to talk about. 877-710-3776. Andy Kamenetsky in for Mace. I'm John Ireland, Mason and Ireland, ESPN LA.
Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
710 ESPN.
A Good Karma Brands radio station.
It is Live Imaging Tuesday on Mason and Ireland. I thought you were giving me England Dan John Ford Coley. What happened in there?
Man, I don't know. It's Nelly Vanelli or whatever his name is.
Oh, here it comes. So this is like an acoustic live version.
This is Gino Vanelli?
No. This is like the live version of England Dan John Ford Coley. It doesn't matter. Because on a Yacht Rock, on a Live Imaging Tuesday, we play Yacht Rock. And sometimes that YouTube channel shuffles on us, but that's okay. Jorge is very busy because he is producing the glorious video packages, the Open that you will see Saturday night at the Commerce Casino, the Mandy Awards, the second one at the Commerce Casino. Of course, Commerce Casino, where the game reigns. We are so excited. 4 days left. What's your name? Andy or Brian? Andy. You excited?
Yeah, I am excited.
I wonder if you and Brian will actually make it on stage. Last year, Brian made it on stage, but Andy never did.
Because of his doppelganger.
Yeah, I think the doppelganger is going to be there again.
I've heard the doppelganger is going to be there.
You always need a good doppelganger.
It was uncanny and frankly creepy how much that guy looked like
Greg.
Brian.
Corporate Greg. What's that guy's name?
I can't think of it right now.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I think he's
Feinstein.
What?
No, it's not.
No, he's saying Kevin Feinstein to me.
Hey, what's going on in there? It doesn't matter.
Disgusting brothers.
Our own show over here.
There's always our own show
Disgusting
going on
brothers.
back here.
Did you see, John, today the meme going around with Tom and Shiv from the last scene? But
With
saying
the hand-holding thing?
But PGA and Liv. And I think Shiv is definitely the PGA today. Because she got bamboozled and then gutted. Just like the PGA
And
players
had
did.
put herself out there
Yes.
like the PGA did, only to find themselves in the hand of Liv.
I'm a golf fan. I think this is good news.
Oh, it's great news.
Today.
It's great news.
I think it was stupid that you had two competing leagues. There's so much money at stake. I want to see all the best players in the same tournaments, and today that's what happened. And I know the PGA players are going to be mad that those live guys kind of get the bag and get to come back, but the bottom line is for fans, this is great.
Well, as player once said, baby, come back.
Baby, come back.
Mason in Ireland with Andy Kamenetsky continues right now.
All right, it's time for the 2 o'clock call of the day. We do this every day. Andy, pick a number between 1 and 6.
6.
That's Daniel in Huntington Beach. Daniel, you're on ESPN LA. Don't ask us how we're doing.
Hey, fellas. The Lakers situation, if we get Kyrie, isn't that our number one? And Davis can be the number 2.
Well, I'm going to – yeah, Daniel, it's an interesting thing. Thank you for the call. I'm going to say something here. I'm about 90% sure that Kyrie Irving's not coming.
I feel about 97% sure.
You're even more than me.
Well, okay, this report from Shams and then confirmed by Chris Haynes from Bleacher Report that Kyrie has been recruiting LeBron to essentially force a trade to the Mavericks, either that or work out a buyout with the Lakers, which is for a bunch of different reasons ain't going to happen.
Right.
My immediate reaction to that tweet from Shams, which was confirmed later by Jovan Buha of The Athletic, his reporting.
Yeah, and these reporters that you're talking about are all rock solid, so it's coming from somewhere.
This was Kyrie signaling to the world, I would love to play with you, LeBron, but I'm not taking a pay cut to do it.
That's how I interpreted it,
I need you to come to me.
And that's not happening.
Because the Lakers cannot, people need to understand this, not that they won't, they cannot do a trade with Kyrie where he gets max dollars, max years. They don't have the cap space. They can't manufacture it without, I guess, getting rid of Anthony Davis.
Right.
Like you're trading AD for Kyrie, which does you no good. That doesn't help. That doesn't make you any better. So it's impossible to do that for Kyrie. And he is signaling he's not going to take a pay cut to make going to the Lakers or anywhere else happen.
Yeah, so theoretically, to answer the caller, yeah, you could say Kyrie's the 1, AD's the 2, but he's not coming.
No.
I mean, I don't know anything. I'm not in Rob Pelinka's office, but I would be shocked. We all have to just wait and see what happens. I think that anybody telling you that Kyrie is on his way to the Lakers is probably lying to you. It could happen, but it's an extreme long shot.
I mean, look, there's a lot of wish casting going on with this stuff, whether you're talking about fans, whether you're talking about, quite frankly, from LeBron. LeBron has been doing a lot of open wish casting to have Kyrie Irving.
No.
Yeah, he's been pretty open about this.
All right, let's do a 203 call of the day. This is Mike in Northridge. Hey, Mike, you're on ESPN LA. Hi.
Hey, boys, what's going on? So you talked last week about trying to speed up the NBA like MLB did. So I'm a high school referee, and we do some things during the summer league only. It hasn't gone further than that. Here are the 5 scenarios where we speed the game up. If you're fouled and you're in the bonus, you shoot 1 shot worth 2 points. If you're fouled shooting a 2, go ahead.
No, I like it. Keep going.
If you're fouled shooting a 2-shot, 2-point shot, you shoot 1 shot for 2 points. If you're shooting a 2-pointer and you fouled and you make it, you get 3 points and the ball's awarded to the defensive team. Shoot a 3-pointer and you're fouled, you shoot 1 shot for 3 points. And if you're fouled and you make a 3-pointer, the team's awarded 4 points. Ball goes out of bounds, the defensive team, and here we go.
I like
Speeds it up.
Yeah, Mike, I like anything that reduces the number of free throws that are shot. I don't think anybody wants to watch free throws. Just like you don't want to watch baseball players take walks or strike out all the time. What baseball did was they got base paths going again, and thank you, Mike, for the phone call. Andy, I'm in favor of anything that reduces free throws. Nobody goes to games to watch free throws.
Depends when the free throws are happening. Last 5 minutes of the game, free throws are tense. Free throws are great. If you're talking about first 5 minutes of the second quarter, you're right. It can drag.
All right, I'll meet you in the middle. No free throws till 5. I'm Jeff Van Gundy now. No free throws till 5 minutes to go in the game.
No, you don't want to eliminate them altogether. What I think we really want is the refs to do a better job of calling them. Because you don't want to eliminate them altogether, because at that point you're fundamentally changing the game in ways that remove all strategy. Like there are teams like the Lakers, this year's model. Part of their strategy is actually getting to the line. Like that's part of the way their offense is designed. It's designed to try to get them to the line. That can be part of the game. What I think people really want is the refs to do a better job of calling games, to not fall for obvious flops, to be consistent, that sort of thing.
All right, we got some breaking news here.
Whoa.
Boy, this is disappointing if you're a baseball fan. Jacob deGrom, who signed a 5-year, $185 million contract with the Rangers at the start of the season, needs Tommy John surgery and is out indefinitely.
Oh, man.
Texas has won all 6 games started by deGrom this season, but he's only pitched 30 innings. And he hasn't pitched since April 28th, and now he's done. And they invested all that money in him. And, boy, so going back, we were just talking about Ohtani. Can you imagine giving Ohtani $600 million and then something like this happens? That's the risk in pinning that much money on one player.
Yeah, I mean, the difference with Ohtani is you always feel like if it turns out he can't do both forever, pitching and hitting, you can always make him a hitter. And that can be easier on the
Angels did that 1 year.
Right. You can make it easier on the Tommy John elbow. And he's a hell of an offensive player. So I mean it maybe wouldn't be worth the, say, $600 million you're paying him to essentially be an everyday player as a pitcher.
Right.
But you could still get a lot of production out of him as an everyday player who just hits. As a DH.
DeGrom has the nastiest stuff in the league. Greg, this does not bode well for the next starting pitcher who hits free agency, because now you have to think, is there a pitcher out there right now in the league that you would give $200 million to?
Just a straight pitcher? I mean, God, I'd have to really think about it. Urias is probably going to get a decent amount. He's going to get close to that.
Yeah, but would you give it to him?
I mean, if he wanted to stay a Dodger,
I would probably give it to Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole, how old is Garrett Cole? I think he's just a
30.
Yeah, so I'd give it to Cole. He's one of those guys. I mean, there's guys out there, but Jacob deGrom is different. He's 34 years old, and he signed a 5-year, $185 million or something like that contract. It's gigantic, and he hasn't even pitched in that many games. He gets hurt more than anybody in the league.
No, he's only pitched in 6 games, but he's only thrown 30 innings.
Yeah, but if you go actually look at his stats over the last few years,
5 innings a start.
Yeah, I mean, like to some degree with the Rangers, they had to know they were taking a dice roll with this.
Right, it was a bad deal, but it's actually kind of like what you would want to do with AD. It's the same kind of situation. A guy that he gets injured a lot. You want to give him a big old contract. Was it worth it for the Rangers? I would say it's not. He's done for the rest of the year. He's done for most of next year at this point.
Yeah, isn't Tommy John's like a 12-month thing, right?
Yeah, for a pitcher, yes. For a position player, you can come back pretty faster.
Oh man,
would you give it to him, Andy? Like that was a bad deal.
No. That type of money for a pitcher with an injury history who's already 34?
Yeah.
No. I mean,
he just wasn't going to get through it.
And they replaced him basically with Max Scherzer, and now that Mets look smart.
Yeah, he's 39. Max Scherzer's not.
Right.
They put all their money into 2 guys, Verlander and Scherzer, that are 39 and 40 years old.
Well, I think because they thought they could win this year. The Mets, the Phillies, and the Padres have spent over $1 billion in salaries and luxury taxes. And if the season ended today, Greg, none of them would even be a wild card.
No, they're all struggling to start. Trey Turner's a big reason why Phillies.
And then nobody in San Diego's hitting.
No, and Machado's is he still injured? He was for a little bit.
The San Diego thing to me is fascinating. Like there has to be something going on in that clubhouse. Like it just feels like you've got so many big established personalities there together. They're underperforming. Last year, guys were outwardly mad at Tatis with that suspension, which is on top of other issues that they've had.
Right.
Machado's a pretty prickly guy. Like, there's got to be something going on with them because they are massively underperforming.
Right. And maybe the biggest offender of those three. Phillies are bad. Mets are bad. Padres are the worst.
Well, especially, too, coming off like what felt like them finally breaking through. They beat the Dodgers in the playoffs.
111-win team.
Yeah, and also, too, the Dodgers, the team that's always had their thumb on them. Like, it finally felt like, okay, maybe we are breaking through as an organization, and they've just regressed since.
Yeah, it just, man. Baseball's having a weird. Now Jacob deGrom out for the year. That's too bad for the Rangers. All right, coming up next, we're going to give away a pair of tickets to the Mandy Awards. Greg is going to open the phones here in about 30 seconds, and you're going to be able to call 877-710-ESPN, 877-710-3776. Now, let me help you out. If you're not a regular listener to the station, not just Mason and Ireland, but the station, you will fail in this game. This game is about all of us here at ESPN LA, and it ranges from the Travis and Sliwa show. It's got a question in there about Morales. It's got a question in there. There may be a question in there about Andy. There may be a question in there about Mason Ireland. There's going to be a question about Sedano and Cap. If you don't know the station, don't call because you won't win. If you do know the station, you want to go to the Mandy's, now is the time to call. 877-710-ESPN, 877-710-3776. All right. Want to give a shout-out and a special thank you to our friends at Mirror Audio Video in Westwood. We've been working with Isaac and Roy over at Mirror for more than 25 years, and now here's a little announcement. Happy birthday to you, Roy. Roy is 40? Roy looks like he's 20. Anyway, happy birthday, Roy, and happy to say that all throughout the years, there's still no one I trust with my TVs and sound and all the electronics and automation in my house like Isaac and Roy and the team of experts at Mirror Audio Video. If you're looking to upgrade your home or office, just give Mirror a call today. Roy will probably answer the phone. You can wish him a happy birthday. 310-234-4010. 310-234-4010 is the number for Mirror. Tell them Mason and Ireland sent you. They'll hook you up for sure. Mirror Audio Video in Westwood. Coming up next, giving away a pair of tickets to the Mandy's. ESPN LA.
You watch your friends.
2 p.m. on a live Imaging Tuesday. On Mason and Ireland, Andy sitting in for Mace. Mandy's week. You also know we play Yacht Rock on Tuesdays, like this one. When you're in love with a beautiful woman. Dr. Hook and Medicine, what was it? Medicine Woman, right? No.
Dr. Hook and I don't know. Yeah, he had a band. I can't remember what they were.
What is it, Corey?
They had a lot of hits.
In the Medicine Show.
In the Medicine Show, yeah.
The Medicine Show.
So, Chris, how many listeners will be at the Mandy's once we give all these tickets away?
1,000.
1,000 people at the Commerce Casino.
Yes.
Is that more than we had last year? Around the same as we had last year?
When you have all staff, we'll have more listeners than last year. I think
Okay.
all in, we had 1,000 people. All in, when we're done, staff, everything will probably be about 1,200 people.
Very big night for
It's a
the
huge
station.
night.
It's Saturday night. Invite only. You have to have tickets, which brings us to our Mandy's ticket giveaway.
Yes, indeed.
Chris, since you're such an integral part of the Mandy's, pick a number between 1 and 10.
2.
Number 2 is Dave in L.A. Dave, are you there?
Here.
Dave,
Okay.
what's your last name?
Hong.
Okay, Dave. You are the first person going to crack this. There are 5 questions. If you give me the correct answer to all 5 questions, you're going to the Mandy's on us. You with me?
All right, let's go.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Dave, Michael Thompson has 3 sons. What are their names?
Michael, Trace, and Clay.
Boom.
That's nice.
1
That's
for
not-
1. Dave, what is the name of Chris Morales' father, who was a popular music DJ in L.A. for more than 2 decades?
What was it?
Chris, what station was your dad at?
Help Star Power 106K, Earth KRLA, The Beat.
You want to take a guess, Dave?
Yeah, I've heard you say it before. No, I missed this one.
Okay.
Miles Morales.
Oh, close. Close. You got the
Morales.
You
No,
gutless, Dave. You gutless.
He actually got the right initial.
He was there.
He had it right there, which opens the door for Jerry and Hacienda Heights.
Oh, beautiful. Jerry.
Jerry, are you there?
Love Hacienda Heights.
I'm here.
All right, Jerry. Michael Thompson has 3 sons. What are their names?
Mike, Trace, and Clay.
Very good. What is the first name of Chris Morales' father, who was a popular music DJ in L.A. for more than 2 decades?
Mucho.
Mucho Morales.
There we
Very
go.
good.
Yeah.
Looking good, Jerry.
Pops may be in the attendance. He may be in attendance on Saturday
Really?
night. We're trying to talk him into it. Talking him and Mom into it.
Okay. Jerry, before Travis Rogers was a talk show host, he produced one of the most successful sports radio shows ever. What show did Travis produce? Want to take a shot, Jerry? Big name. Think big.
It's got,
Big sports radio name. I'm sorry, Jerry.
You gutless, Jerry.
I'm sorry, Jerry. That opens the door for Javier and Oxnard.
Oh, Javier.
Javier, how are you? Javier going
Hung up.
once. Javier, oh, he didn't know.
Oh, you gutless, Javier.
Yeah, he didn't know. Jacob in Anaheim.
Oh, beautiful.
Jacob, you want to take a shot here?
yes, sir. Let's go.
Jacob,
All
you
right.
on West Anaheim or East Anaheim?
West Anaheim.
Oh, beautiful.
West Anaheim. It's the only part of
Near
Anaheim you want to
Cypress.
be in. All right. Michael Thompson has 3 sons, Jacob. What are their names?
Michael, Trace, Clay.
Correct. What is the first name of Chris Morales' father, who was a popular music DJ in L.A. for more than 2 decades?
He is not gutless. Mucho.
Mucho Morales. All right. Before Travis Rogers was a talk show host, he produced one of the most successful sports radio shows ever. What show did Travis produce?
Oh, I think it is Jim Rome.
Yeah!
Boom, Jacob.
Glad you grabbed a vine.
All right, Jacob. Only 2 more. Jacob, Lindsay Fulton, the producer of Sedano and Capo, was once the producer of Mason and Ireland, is from what Midwestern city?
Cleveland.
Yes! Yes, Jacob. Jacob, you get this. and you're on the way to the Mandy's, the most coveted ticket in Los Angeles today.
At least in June, right now.
Jacob.
No pressure.
What is the name of Steve Mason's podcast, the one he hosts with Sue Kalinsky and the one that Chris Morales voices the open for? The name of Mason's podcast, Jacob, is what?
Oh, man. It is the Culture Pop.
Yeah! Boom! Jacob! Bam! Jacob, it's a final!
Jacob, congratulations. What's your last name, Jacob?
Nigliaccio.
Oh,
we won't even try and spell it.
Jacob Nigliaccio from West Anaheim. You're going to be in the house Saturday night at Commerce Casino to press the flesh with us for Mandy's 2.
Jacob, that was excellent work.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Who you
Excellent
bringing,
work.
Jacob? Who you bringing?
Yeah, do you know who you're going to bring, or are you now have it like Chris Morales often does? Are you having an open audition to see who gets to go with you to the Mandy's?
Well, my wife is here next to me, so that would be a bad idea
Happy
for me.
wife.
So I'm going to bring my
Happy
wife.
life,
What's
Jacob.
her name, Jacob?
What's your wife's name?
Jessica.
Jessica.
yeah.
Jacob, we're looking forward to meeting you and Jessica. I'm going to put you on hold, and Bergman's going to give you the details, okay?
Thank you guys so much.
Oh, thank
We'll see
you,
you
Jacob.
Saturday
We
night,
appreciate
Jacob.
you listening. That's good work by Jacob in West Anaheim.
That's
right
nice.
there.
I'm in East Anaheim, just for that.
Well,
on the orange side next to
You're,
the stadium.
I've seen you all over Anaheim.
Well, I
so
get around.
there
You
there
got to press the flesh. And by the way, I've got, I think, 3 different friends on Saturday night. They're sprinkled to different tables.
Oh, you're going to be like Hef with the triplets.
Exactly. Except the triplets were often seen together. Chris is trying to spread them out. He's trying to make sure
like
that
an
the
episode
left.
of Three's Company.
Exactly. He wants to make sure the left hand doesn't necessarily know what the right hand is up to, if you know what I mean.
I feel like Chris's hands always know what they're up to.
I would be like Larry. Was it Larry?
Larry, yes.
Yeah, I would be Larry.
Trying to manage 3 girls at the Beagle.
Yeah, the Regal Beagle.
Oh, gosh. How great was the Regal Beagle?
By the way, Three's Company, mythically, set in Marina Del Rey.
In Santa Monica.
Wasn't it? I
It's
thought it was.
Santa Monica.
I thought it was in the marina. Wasn't the Regal Beagle in the marina? Was it Santa Monica? Come and knock on our door.
It's Santa Monica.
Is it?
I'm like 99%.
Well, wait, I mean, it's something we can look up.
I was down with Mrs. Furley, too.
There was no Mrs.
No.
Roper. You mean Mrs. Roper?
Oh, I was down with Mrs. Roper.
Yes. And
You know, why not?
Yeah, Mr. Furley came later.
That was
right?
late.
Norman Fell was Mr. Roper, and Don Knotts was Mr.
Yeah.
Furley, right?
And now there's a bar in L.A. that I think is doing really well called Mr. Furley's. I believe so.
Is
in like
there-
the Valley.
Is there still a
It was
Regal
a Santa
Beagle?
Monica apartment that they were sharing together
Santa-
under the guise of Jack being gay, and therefore he wouldn't be interested in the 2 girls, and it was approved of by the Ropers.
Right.
That's
good knowledge. That's good knowledge.
And there are always girls
I'm
who
full
look
of Three's
who look
Company
like
knowledge,
who look
Chris.
like Suzanne
Roar!
Summers just running around Santa Monica unattached. That was the hard to believe aspect of
So
that.
you were a Suzanne Summers guy, not Janet.
Joyce DeWitt?
Yeah.
No, that was like her one claim to fame. She never did anything outside of. I think she may have made one Love Boat appearance. That would be about it.
Love Boat. Love Boat.
I think Cappy's in person today.
Yeah. Well, he had to do he stayed last night at East Central for his Monday night rendezvous across the street, the East Central Hotel. Beautiful place. Then he was here doing his San Diego show, which I don't think should be allowed in the building.
Why?
We can stop
I
it.
support all side hustles.
But it's like this, small market thing.
He can do it from the hotel.
Yeah.
He should do
I'm
the
an
Cafe Cast
expert
on East Central.
doing things from hotels. It all depends on the internet.
Good night, everyone.
Yes.
I'll be back.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And we don't expect to get any more Mandy's tickets, but you never know. Morales could walk in tomorrow. He's a man of the people. He could be roaming around the building looking for actors. You got to listen. We may have more to give away tomorrow. Who knows? All right, I have a question, Andy. Do you get jealous? Be honest. Do you get jealous when you find out that a coworker makes more money than you do?
It depends on whether or not I think the coworker is good at their job or a hack. If they are good at their job, I don't feel any resentment towards it. If they're a hack, yeah, I might.
Bergman, do you get jealous if you find out one of your coworkers makes more money than you?
No, because everybody makes more than I do. It's totally fine. Nothing changes there. But no, I wouldn't care. Like Andy said, if you're good at your job, then you should be paid accordingly. So I don't care what it is.
A lot of people thought that Stephen A. Smith, let's face it, Stephen A. is kind of the face of ESPN, was going to lose it when it came out that Pat McAfee was making $18 million a year at ESPN, which is more than Stephen A makes. But if you think Stephen A has it out for Pat McAfee, you would be wrong. Listen to this.
I got word that Pat McAfee is coming to ESPN. The reason why people were clamoring for me to chime in about him is because you have so many people that are looking at what he's getting paid. It's no secret that even though you don't know the numbers that I make, even though I'm sure a lot of you think you know, it's clearly more than I'm making. Two things. Number one, I don't give a damn. He negotiated his deal a few weeks ago. I negotiated my deal a few years ago. The situation is not the same. I'm a big boy. I've been to hell and back. This does not faze me at all. Pat McAfee deserves it. You looking for some haterade here, wrong place. I admire what he has done. I respect what he has done. So much so that I'm doing it. It's people like Pat McAfee I get to thank for that.
This is such a healthy way, Andy, to look at life. And I got straightened out by, of all people, here's a name I thought you guys bet I was never going to say today. Fred Rogan.
Oh.
Years ago, I had a conversation with Fred.
The Dean.
And he said, before he had his show, which he has now, he worked with us.
Mm-hmm.
And Fred said to me once, I was in the middle of a contract negotiation. I was asking him for advice. And he said, here's the thing. Play your own ball. It's like golf. Play your own ball. Decide what number in your own head you would be happy with. And don't compare it to anybody else. Don't compare it to me or to other people or to anybody. What number would make you happy that you could live with and that you would be excited to come to work about every day? Once you get that, you're all set. And that's code for what Stephen A. was saying.
Yeah.
Stephen A. isn't mad at Pat McAfee. When Stephen A. goes back to negotiate his next contract, the fact that Pat got this much actually helps Stephen A.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it never hurts to have somebody reset the market when you know there will always be a market for you.
Right.
Like there will always be a market for Stephen A. because Stephen A.'s really good at what he does and is very popular. B, it's also easy for Stephen A. to be happy for Pat McAfee when Stephen A. is already loaded. Like,
right.
I mean, it is much easier to avoid jealousy when you have already made more money than you will likely ever spend. So it does become easy. Like if Stephen A. had been doing this for 20 years and always felt underpaid, he might have a little bit of a different opinion on this.
Yeah, I never begrudge people for making money. Negotiate the best deal you can for yourself. And as long as you play your own ball, that's a really good tip when you're going through life. Don't worry about other people and what they're making. Worry about you and what you're making. And good for Pat McAfee. If he's able to get that out of ESPN, more power to him. All right, coming up next, why are all these NFL players betting on NFL games? For the life of me, I don't understand it. We'll get into that. And Andy, the government's hiding UFOs from us again. It's a fact. I'll explain coming up next. Yeah. What's Up, Fool? About 15 minutes away. Mason and Ireland, Andy in for Mace, ESPN LA. George Benson, Jorge?
Yes, sir. It's my favorite song, actually. One of my favorite songs.
Breezin' is your
Yeah,
favorite song?
it's just-
Little known fact about George Benson, my friends in the music business are telling me the truth, and most of the time they do. Couldn't read music. Just did everything from memory.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Jimi Hendrix couldn't read music.
I heard that too. Yeah, pretty amazing. All right, so Andy,